Hey, what's up you guys, it's Caboose bringing you another Spider-Man Miles Morales video, and today what I got for you guys here is going to be another top 5. In today's video, we're going to go over the top 5 villains that I want to see in Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, before we get into everything, I wanted to ask you guys, of course, if at any point you enjoyed this video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. So if you enjoy the video at any point, leaving a like rating would be awesome. And also, if you are a part of the 58.8% of people that are currently not subscribed to this channel, well, I am covering the latest and greatest in Spider-Man Miles Morales, as well as Marvel's Avengers, and all superhero gaming related content. And to top all that off, I'm also covering Mortal Kombat 11. So if you liked anything that I just mentioned, if you're looking forward to any of the rumored superhero games, like potentially a Batman game from WB Montreal, or a Suicide Squad game from Rocksteady, this is the channel to be. And if you'd like, you can subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to be immediately notified when a video goes live. And with all that said, well, let's jump into this. I do want to point out, first of all, that this is my list, and some of the villains on this list are villains that have already showed up in Spider-Man PS4 and are characters that I want to see return to face off against Miles Morales, and also that it's my personal opinion and you guys are going to have different ones, so that's the fun of the comment section. So make sure you leave your list in the comments. Alright, at number 5, I got the Rhino, and this is actually a villain that I was speculating about that may end up being in the game based on some things that are going on in that reveal trailer for Spider-Man Miles Morales. You know, in my trailer breakdown, I point out that there's that scene where a bridge seems to be collapsing and Miles is saving somebody from falling from that collapsing bridge, and I'm wondering who can create that kind of damage. And granted, Miles seems to be facing off against some enemies with some high-tech equipment, so that's really all it could be. But at the same time, I also kind of hope that it ends up being the Rhino. As I've mentioned before, it would definitely bring it full circle with what we got between Miles and Rhino in Spider-Man PS4 with that sneak mission, and this time Miles is Spider-Man, doesn't have to sneak around, doesn't have to worry about avoiding Rhino, he's just gotta face him head on. And also, if my speculation ends up becoming true and that is Rhino causing that bridge to collapse, how cool would it be if that boss battle against Rhino takes place on that bridge? So yeah, I think Rhino would be a really cool villain to see return in Spider-Man Miles Morales because of that full circle moment, and also because they could create a really innovative boss battle out of it. But alright, now moving on to number 4 on my list. This is another returning villain that I'd like to see come back from Spider-Man PS4 into this game, and that is none other than the Kingpin. You know, in Spider-Man PS4, Kingpin is the first villain that you take down, and I'd hope to see him return in Spider-Man Miles Morales just so that they can give him a little more to do. You know, I'd love to see the villain have a little more screen time, a sort of differently structured boss battle, something really fun where they can reincorporate the character within Spider-Man Miles Morales. And of course as well, Miles does go toe-to-toe against the Kingpin in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. And not that, you know, this game needs to take every last little bit of inspiration from the movie, but it's just something that if Insomniac were to do it, if they were to bring back Kingpin to face off against Miles Morales, then it would be something that the general audiences are already familiar with. Plus, I mean, come on, Kingpin's a really cool villain, and he's just that brute force similar to Rhino, but on a little bit more of a smaller scale, and really works well as a villain for Spider-Man to face off against. Alright, these next 3 villains are all going to be brand new ones that I want to see in this game, not recurring villains that were already in Spider-Man PS4. So let's start that off here at number 3. The Sandman. This was a villain that was teased in Spider-Man PS4 through one of the collectibles that you get from the backpacks. However, we didn't actually see the character in the game whatsoever, and I think this is an awesome Spidey villain that we have seen Miles go toe-to-toe against in the comic books, and I honestly think that this is a villain that could work extremely well in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And if he doesn't show up in this game, well then get him in Spider-Man 2, because I really want to see this villain in action in an Insomniac Spider-Man game. Okay, and now the runner-up on villains that I want to see in Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is a villain that I think could work really well in this game specifically, and someone that I don't think should just appear in this game. It's a villain that I want to see also show up down the line in a potential full-on sequel for Marvel Spider-Man, and that is none other than Kraven the Hunter. Here's my pitch for how this character could work in Spider-Man Miles Morales. He could be the acting taskmaster of this game. You know, I could imagine like a side mission where you realize somebody is tracking you, and then eventually you have a couple of run-ins against Kraven, and that sort of leaves off with a cliffhanger, and then we'll maybe get more of him in a Spider-Man 2. That's something that I think would be great. Kraven is an awesome villain, and I feel like he's one of the most underrated members of the Rogues Gallery for Spider-Man, and is a character that I think definitely needs his time to really be built up. So that's why I'd like to see him appear in Miles Morales as sort of a side mission where we face off against him a couple of times, and then leave it off with some sort of cliffhanger to set him up as one of the main villains for the next official sequel to Spider-Man PS4. But okay, finally, here we are at number 1, and I think you've all guessed it at this point because it really isn't that difficult to guess as to which villain I want to see the most. This is a very key character to Miles' origin story in becoming Spider-Man, and I feel that Insomniac has an opportunity here to capture the same sort of emotional connection that you got between Peter and Doc Ock in Spider-Man PS4 with this villain and Miles in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And so without further ado, the number 1 villain I want to see the most in this game, without a doubt, Spider-Ham. I mean, come on, how are you not going to get Spider-Ham to be the main villain of the game? He is such an important character to Miles. He is such a menacing character in the comic books. This character could work so well as the main... What's that? Oh, they want Prowler. Over Spider-Ham, though? You sure? Okay, yeah, he's pretty cool. I'll talk about him. Of course it's going to be the Prowler. You can't make a list of villains you want to see in this game and not include the Prowler. This is such an important character to Miles' origin story, and Insomniac would be missing a massive opportunity here if they were to not include him in this game. And honestly, I think that he's actually in the game, and I'm pretty sure that we've seen him in that reveal trailer for Spider-Man Miles Morales. Per my breakdown, there is a blink and you'll miss it moment where Miles is chasing somebody who has got some purplish looking gear and very much fits the bill of the Prowler. It's just a no-brainer. There's really no scenario here where I see Spider-Man Miles Morales come out and not have Prowler in it as the main villain, or at least as one of the main villains. The only way that I see Insomniac not including the Prowler is if they have plans to make a sequel to Spider-Man Miles Morales, specifically on top of a sequel for Spider-Man PS4. But I'd say that there is like a 99% chance that Prowler ends up being in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And with all that said, I now want to kick it to you guys. Just as I said at the top of the video, this list is just my list, just my opinion, and everybody else out there is going to have different opinions, and that's why you can utilize the comment section to sound off and let me know which villains you want to see the most in Spider-Man Miles Morales. So let me know in the comments, and of course, if you enjoyed this video, if you could consider leaving a like rating on it, it would show your support, and I would really appreciate it. I'm Caboose, and you can click on screen to make your way to one of the other videos on the channel, or you can click my logo to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can also follow me on Instagram and Twitter. Those links are in the description. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a comment if you have an opinion, and subscribe if you're new. See you guys later.